Here are the most unusual children you have ever seen. Ever since she was a little girl, Alita Andre had only one desire: to spend her time painting. And one day, her life changed, and for good reason. The little girl realized she had an incredible gift for abstract art. That's right, at only 4 years old, the little girl was already making a name for herself. Alita used acrylic paint and mixed media painting techniques to create amazing paintings that she exhibited in major cities around the world and even sold. Even though the little girl's hands and face were always smeared with paint, she never seemed to mind, as long as she always had her tools and paint in hand. Thanks to her incredible artistic gift, Alita Andre has become the youngest painter in the world, and there is no doubt that she will one day be as famous as Picasso, Monet, or Frida Kahlo. In any case, we wish her good luck. This is Omari McQueen, a young teenager living in the UK. We can say that at first sight, this young boy prefers to spend his free time playing soccer games with his friends. But in reality, Omari doesn't seem to have much time to have fun because this teenager spends his time working as a cook. That's right, at the age of 11, Omari was already considered the youngest vegan chef in the United Kingdom, and even the youngest restaurateur in the world, according to him. This young chef, who learned to simmer since the age of 7 and become known thanks to his YouTube channel, already runs a business selling vegan products and spends his time preparing plant-based dishes that he distributes to the homeless. As he says himself, feeding people on the street gives him great joy and satisfaction, even though it takes a lot of time and effort in the kitchen. Despite this, Omari has much to be proud of because at his age, he has become a model of success and inspiration for many young people. Bo Jensen was a 9-year-old boy living in the Kansas capital of Topeka who only cared about one thing: playing his favorite sport of baseball at the highest level possible. Then, a worldwide pandemic that we know well interrupted his dream and forced him to stop playing baseball. In order to not get bored and of course to stay in shape for the next baseball season, Bo Jensen decides to start weight training. So far nothing unusual, but then, to everyone's surprise, little Bo started lifting more and more weights. A few months later, with the help of his father, Bo was crowned the strongest boy in the United States. However, if everything seems to be smiling for the little boy, he must absolutely be careful not to hurt himself and not to harm his growth, which is fragile and still in full development. But Bo, supported by his father, is not worried. He says he only trains 3 days a week for about an hour and eats all the right things to build his muscles and help his body recover. Now stronger and more physically impressive, little Bo's new goal is to win the title of strongest teenager in the United States. Good luck, Bo! Ritaj Al-Hazmi is a young Saudi girl who has loved reading since she was very young. But one day, this teenager wanted to start writing her own books. Although it was a real challenge for her, the young girl who dreamed of seeing her works on the shelves of bookstores started writing her first books. Result? Her first novel came out sometime later, followed by a second one. Ritaj had just realized her dream, becoming at the same time, at the age of only 12 years, the youngest author of a series of novels in the world according to the Guinness Book of World Records. A beautiful consecration. Of course, to achieve this result, Ritaj had to follow assiduous courses to better master her writing. Despite all the efforts and the time she spent to learn and rewrite her manuscript, Ritaj can now feel proud of herself, and this pushes her today to write more books and share her knowledge with others through a writing workshop. This makes this young Saudi woman a world-renowned literary prodigy. We are now going to tell you about Laurent Simons, a little boy of Belgian origin who lives in the Netherlands and who undoubtedly dreams of becoming a great researcher one day. All dreams are allowed, including for children, you will tell me. But unlike others, Laurent Simons can see his dream come true at a very young age because this little boy is actually a gifted child and his IQ would be 145. Thanks to his parents' initiative when he was only 7 years old, this precocious child was already going to university once a week, becoming the youngest researcher in the world. After a very advanced education for his age, he even had a degree in electrical engineering at the age of 9, becoming the youngest graduate in the world. Things didn't turn out as planned, but the little boy can still get a degree at an early age. Of course, studies and research may have prevented him from having more fun than other children of his age, but it is fair to say that this little genius must have a lot more fun manipulating a machine in a laboratory than playing with a remote-controlled car. All this makes Laurent Simons one of the most famous young people in the world. Mahiro is the name of a young karateka who lives in Japan. Even as a child, this girl always wanted to spend her time practicing this fighting sport, even if she sometimes found herself fighting people older than her. But that never stopped Mahiro from learning to master the techniques of karate, so much so that her level surpassed that of some professional adults, according to the specialists. The icing on the cake is that the little Japanese girl got her black belt in karate at the age of only 7. It is true that all this was not achieved without enormous efforts and a certain rigor, but the young Mahiro adapted very well during all her years of training, and today, she can only feel very proud of the level she has reached. Moreover, thanks to her incredible game, she has finally attracted the attention of the media and internet users from all over the world. Now here is the story of Tanitaluwa Adewumi, a Nigerian boy who lives in the United States after he and his family fled their country in 2017. Arriving in Uncle Sam's country, the little boy was of course hoping to make new friends at school and lead a much better life with his family. But it was mostly the game of chess that ended up capturing his attention. Deeply interested in this board game that he had discovered at the shelter, little Tanitaluwa started practicing it at his school's chess club under the guidance of a chess coach. A year later, he realized his dream of becoming the New York State chess champion at only 8 years old. Who would have thought that this little Nigerian boy who had found refuge in Manhattan would one day become a chess prodigy? Of course, it wasn't as easy as one might think, because the little boy had to prepare himself well for the game, using the chess websites he consulted. However, today, the future seems to be smiling for this young boy, who became overnight an outstanding little chess player and well known in the world. His incredible life and career would be the subject of a biopic. Kira Makogonenko is a little girl from Ukraine, and I can tell you that she is a real champion. While most boxers train without a blindfold, because yes, eyesight is important when you don't want to get hit in the face, Kira is unique because she trains with a blindfold. At only 13 years old, and yes, once again, she is a boss. Kira Makogonenko has gone viral for her impressive training routine. The 13-year-old Ukrainian boxer can be seen on a balanced platform, juggling 2 balls in one hand while training with a punching bag in an incredible multitasking feat. Focused and seemingly carefree, Makogonenko's laid-back demeanor has earned her fans on social media. So, if you need some midweek inspiration, check out the Rising Stars workout sequence for motivation. Sky and Ocean Brown are 2 Anglo-Japanese brother and sister who love skateboarding more than anything else in the world and who dream of becoming professionals in this sport since they were very young. Indeed, at the age of 7 and only 4 years old, Sky and his little brother Ocean already knew how to perform some feats. However, due to their young age, the Browns were not allowed to skate anywhere, so with the support of their parents, they started to skateboard in places more suitable for them, thus attracting the attention of the public and other skaters. On the other hand, although they have managed to break into the sport, especially for Sky, who in 2016 became the youngest professional skateboarder in the world, the Browns are never safe from accidents. In fact, when you say skateboarding, you can fall and slip at any time. However, thanks to years of intense training, these 2 kids have now gained a solid experience in the world of skateboarding, and of course, this has increased their popularity around the world. Her name is Maddie Ziegler, and she has been dancing since she was 2 years old. This young American girl, who is now approaching her 20th birthday, wanted to turn her hobby into a real passion by juggling different styles, from ballet to contemporary dance. But Maddie didn't expect to become famous when she appeared on the 2011 edition of the reality show Lifetime Dance Moms with her mother and sister. The little girl was only 8 years old at the time, but her future in dance was already set. Indeed, this dance prodigy decided to pursue her dream of becoming a great dancer. And that's how she found herself playing in music videos, notably alongside the singer Sia. Maddie, who didn't expect to become famous one day, became famous at such a young age. But for that, she had to work very hard to perfect her techniques in the art of dancing. Today, however, Maddie has nothing to regret because her efforts have finally paid off. And thanks to this, the young girl is one of the most inspiring young talents in the world today. Now we head to Henan province in central China to meet the little boys who live in the famous Shaolin Temple. You're wondering what all these kids are doing there, some of whom are no taller than 3 apples, right? Well, you should know that these boys are there because they want to become monks of the temple later on. But when they arrived at this place, these kids found out to their surprise that they had to train very hard in Kung Fu before they could finally become Shaolin Temple monks. Without hesitation, these boys set to work practicing all the most strenuous Kung Fu moves until they had mastered all the techniques of this discipline and until their little bodies finally acquired the required flexibility. I don't need to tell you that these young Kung Fu masters had a very hard time going through this grueling training. However, they eventually adapted to this intensive training and learned to overcome the pain. This will make them very strong men in the future. Now, tell us in the comments which of these unusual kids impressed you the most. Don't forget to subscribe and click here to watch another of our videos.